A wave of terror has swept through Kaduna State as armed bandits stormed a church service and abducted over 100 worshippers in what appears to be one of the most brazen mass kidnappings Nigeria has witnessed in recent times. The incident occurred in the early hours of Sunday morning when members of the evangelical church Winning All were gathered for their regular worship service in Kaduna's Kujama area. Witnesses say the attackers, numbering around 50 and heavily armed with sophisticated weapons, surrounded the church premises and rounded up congregants before marching them into the surrounding forests. This attack has sent shockwaves across Nigeria and reignited conversations about the deteriorating security situation in the northwestern region of the country. The Kaduna state government has confirmed the incident and stated that security forces have been mobilized to track down the kidnappers and rescue the victims. Local authorities report that the bandits operated with military precision, blocking all access routes to the church compound and ensuring no one could escape or call for help during the operation. Some church members who managed to hide during the raid have described scenes of chaos and fear as families were torn apart and elderly worshippers were forced to trek into the bush alongside younger victims. What makes this particular incident especially troubling is the sheer number of people taken at once. Mass abductions have unfortunately become a recurring nightmare in Nigeria's northwestern states, but the targeting of a church congregation during active worship represents a new level of audacity from these criminal gangs. The bandits reportedly spent nearly 2 hours at the location, methodically selecting their captives and loading them with items looted from the church and surrounding homes. Community leaders in Kujama have expressed their frustration with what they describe as inadequate security presence in rural areas, arguing that these attacks continue because the perpetrators face little resistance and even less consequence. The families of those kidnapped are now facing an agonizing wait as negotiations typically begin within days of such incidents. Historically, these bandit groups demand ransom payments that can range from hundreds of thousands to millions of naira per victim, placing impossible financial burdens on already struggling communities. The Nigerian government has maintained a public stance against paying ransoms, arguing that such payments only fuel the kidnapping economy and encourage more attacks. However, desperate families often have no choice but to pool resources and negotiate directly with the abductors when official rescue efforts appear slow or ineffective. If you are finding this information valuable and want to stay updated on developing stories like this, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss important updates. Security analysts have pointed out that the persistence of banditry in Kaduna and neighboring states stems from a complex mix of factors, including poverty, unemployment, ethnic tensions, and the proliferation of illegal weapons. These armed groups have evolved from cattle rustlers into sophisticated criminal networks that control vast territories in the northwest, operating with seeming impunity across state boundaries. The forests and ungoverned spaces in these regions provide perfect hiding spots for kidnapped victims and make military operations incredibly challenging. Despite numerous security operations launched over the years, including aerial bombardments and ground offensives, the bandits have shown remarkable resilience and adaptability. What's particularly heart-wrenching about this situation is imagining what these families are going through right now. Parents are separated from children, husbands from wives, and entire households have been thrown into uncertainty. The victims are likely being held in harsh conditions deep in the forest with little food or medical care, while their captors make demands and set deadlines. Previous victims of such abductions have reported being subjected to physical abuse, forced marches across difficult terrain, and psychological torture designed to pressure their families to pay quickly. Some victims have been held for weeks or even months when ransom negotiations stall or families cannot raise the required amounts. The international community has also taken notice of Nigeria's security challenges, with various countries and organizations offering assistance and expressing concern. However, the fundamental issues driving insecurity require long-term solutions that go beyond military intervention. There needs to be genuine economic development in affected regions, better governance, improved intelligence gathering, and most importantly, a comprehensive strategy that addresses the root causes pushing young men into banditry. The cycle of poverty and violence feeds on itself, creating generations trapped in conflict with no clear path forward. Religious leaders across Nigeria have condemned this attack and called for prayers for the safe return of the kidnapped worshippers. The Christian Association of Nigeria has demanded immediate action from security agencies and urged the government to treat this as a national emergency. Interfaith groups have also spoken out, recognizing that while this particular attack targeted Christians, banditry affects Nigerians of all faiths and backgrounds. The fear and trauma ripple through entire communities, forcing people to abandon their farms, close their businesses, and live in constant anxiety about when the next attack might come. As this story continues to develop, we'll be monitoring all updates from security agencies, government officials, and community sources. The coming days will be critical as rescue operations unfold and negotiations potentially take place behind the scenes. Every Nigerian should be paying attention to this crisis because it represents a fundamental challenge to our collective security and national stability. Make sure you subscribe to stay informed as we bring you the latest developments, and please share this video to raise awareness about what's happening in Kaduna and across the Northwest.